All right, and we are live. Welcome, everybody, to a live episode of Mike's Money Picks. We are talking college hoops today, and we're going to be talking the big Saturday slate. Saturday, February 28th, we've got an 8-game main slate on DraftKings starting at noon Eastern Time. And here to break it all down. And I am joined by my co-host here, Zach, a.k.a. Big Country. Zach, how's it going today?
It's good. How are you? Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to make it because I know this was kind of not last minute, but kind of thrown together yesterday because just looking at the schedule, seeing what we both had, and being able to make it work. But today's been great. Like ever since 6 p.m., it's just been a lot of watching college basketball for me, which is a great night. Both the kids are in bed. Got the TV on Dayton GW and Michigan Illinois is at half right now, So yeah, just a great night of college basketball because these have been some really good games. And before we get started about Saturday, can you believe that only 30% of the found out that Justice Williams was for Western Michigan?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I figured he'd be way high. Just it was just obvious error by DraftKings with the listing as an out from
I mean,
earlier in the season.
It just goes to show you that there's still a knowledge edge in this game that we play, right? And if you're willing to do the research, if you're willing to put the time in, or if you're willing to have a subscription to KenPom, you can easily look and figure out that guy is playing. He's one of their best players. He starts. He's very clearly going to be one of the best plays of the slate, and only 30% of people figured that out. So very happy to see that. And I don't know about you, but I'm very much waiting on the results of these 3 games still going on before I'm going to see what kind of night it is. But I'm hoping it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, I had before the show I had Scalejack, and then of course he's not starting, and I really like this what I call my gut lineup. My first lineup I always make, I call it my gut lineup. And it has Scalejack, and so I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do Elmer. I don't want to jack up anything else because that's usually what happens with news is you go and instead of just making one pivot off the guy, you go and change out 2 or 3 other guys, and it's kind of screws you over.
Mm-hmm. And can we go ahead and have the Miami Ohio talk? So, if that team doesn't have Scaljack, they could be done. They could be totally done. If they flame out early in the MAC tournament, they might not make it. And I don't think that's an unreasonable take.
And they still got to end the season on the road.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. I will say for DFS purposes, because they keep putting that team on the slate, because they're ranked and DraftKings has a love affair with the AP Top 25. I thought Perry was decent in kind of relief of Scaljack. So I think if Miami's going to continue to be on slates, I don't mind the idea of going back to Perry as kind of the new guard there.
Yeah, the only thing is a lot of it was scoring, and he only missed 2 shots. So that's the one thing. But if it depends, if he's still under 4,500, then that's solid. Right. It doesn't matter too much if they're mainly a shooter if they're cheap.
Right. All right, so now let's go ahead and shift the focus over to Saturday, and let's see who we got in the chat tonight. I see we got Jonathan Nelson in here. I believe he was with us last week. Glad to have you back. Jeff Gagner is here. What's up, Jeff? I definitely have seen you out there on Twitter having some good nights recently. Glad to have you here. And then I see we got our boy Huncho as well in the chat. If you're in the chat, let us know. Say what's up. We're going to be talking about everything for tomorrow's main slate. If there's a game you want to talk about, if there's a player you want to talk about, if there's a line for a player prop or an underdog draft or something like that you want to talk about, let us know because we are here for you guys to help you guys be prepared and win some money for tomorrow's slate. All right, so Zach, as we're rolling in here, I'm going to go ahead and put the sheet up on the screen. Why don't you tell the people where they can find this sheet?
Okay, we post it every day on at Big Country DFS on Twitter. And then also the Big Country DFS Discord, which you can find the pinned tweet. It has a link to it, and then the Fantasy Corner Discord as well. And last year, this is actually the first year we've been doing sheets for every slate, except for Saturday afternoon and night. We just do a core and stats and spreads, just because the contest, they have not gotten anywhere decent, and I don't want to do a full sheet for a $750 total prize, $1 GPP.
I agree. It's the DraftKings' lack of support of the afternoon and night slates has not been cool.
And that's what sucks, because that's what is a lot of the good games usually.
Yes, and I'm going to bang the drum for FanDuel here. I actually think FanDuel has done a decent job of picking like the best games all day. And, they very rarely do two slates. Tomorrow they've got two slates, and it's like a whole lot of banger games on both slates. I know FanDuel gets kind of made fun of, but they actually did a really good job with their slate construction tomorrow. So if you don't like DraftKings, go play on FanDuel. Healthy competition is a good thing. All right, so looking at the game, Zach, what are your macro top-down level thoughts about this slate of 8 games that we got tomorrow?
So right off the bat, one of the games that I probably just am going to X out is UConn Seton Hall, just because that total is way lower compared to any other game. UConn should win easily. Maybe some cheap guys like Hines had a good game last time and a good game against UConn the first meeting, but that's because he's cheap. I don't know if I want to play Terrace Reed at his mega price whenever you can get like Trey Carroll and some other guys right around there in better game environments. The Duke total, even though it's low, I do think Virginia can push them a little more than we've seen recent games, which could lead to some other guys like Isaiah Evans and some other guys getting more, and of course Boozer if you can fit him. But as we're going to get into, the values just few and far.
So the first observation for me is that just there's, last Saturday we talked about this plethora of options that was available, right? We just listed value play after value play, guy that was mispriced after guy that was mispriced, just so many guys that just felt like comfortable clicks because it was an 11-game slate. We had some high totals and we had some injuries that put guys in good spots. And this slate, we just don't really have that. This one just feels like a very tightly priced slate where there's a few values you can feel good about. There's a few values that have upside, but there's just not really like that smattering of options that we had last week. And what I'm worried that it's going to condense the guys that are perceived as the quote unquote good plays in terms of ownership. That's what I'm afraid is going to happen. So I think that looking top down tomorrow, you're going to have to think of ways to get different, because if you do like a guy, there's a very good chance that he's going to be very highly owned.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's where, people like the 8 gamers. And that's why I prefer 10 or 11, because having those 4 to 6 more teams brings in so many more guys into play, and it helps the pricing a little bit too. And I think now you have 8 games, then you have tight pricing. Like you said, people are going to zone in on those few values. And then what sucks also is UCLA, Minnesota totals low, but as we know, Minnesota only literally plays 6 guys. And so they're going to be on the floor the whole time. And UCLA is kind of condensing as well.
Yeah, so I actually think please let me know if I'm a crazy person, but I actually think that's like the Galaxy Brain game stack of the day is UCLA Minnesota.
I could see it.
We've said all season we like bigs against Minnesota. We like bigs against UCLA. Both teams are going to play 5.5 guys. I just think that you could get something like maybe like a Cade Tyson, Grayson Grove, Tyler Bilodeau from that game or something, and have 3 guys go off. I'm not saying put your whole lineup from that game, but I think that that's a sneaky Galaxy Brain a few guys from it, because the guys in this game are going to play 30-plus minutes with a solid matchup. Even though there's not going to be a high number of possessions, the matchup is pretty juicy.
Yeah, I agree. And then you have Mississippi State, Missouri, there's not going to be any defense there. Georgetown,
No.
Xavier, not much more defense there either. And then you got
You could
Vanderbilt. Those are the
really
games that people are going to look at.
build your whole lineup off of those 3 games, the ones that are over 150. You could really just pick 8 players from those 3 games, not have a player in an ugly game environment, and go from there. I think that's a totally viable strategy as well.
And I do actually like Clemson, Louisville as well, because it's a mega pace up for Clemson. And so all those guys are cheap. Granted, their rotation is a stinking mess, but you have some guys like Hunter is going to play 30-plus minutes. Welling and Davidson and Godfrey all are going to kind of split. But so – and then you have Iowa, who should just beat up Penn State. And that's what sucks is, like, I was looking at after Folgers did well, as we like to call him. But then they jacked his price up to 62, and it's like, because he's still coming off the bench. Like, it's just you can't trust it from game to game with it. Penn State's a good matchup there.
Yeah. So let's transition here. Let's go ahead and let's start talking guards, but let's get caught up in chat. I see we got our boy Cam in here. What is up, Cam? Happy to have you here. And then Dan, the GOAT of college football, in the chat. I'm happy to have you here as well, Dan. And then Huncho, yes, they did add Senek. On the big Mondays, Senek was in there for the first time all season. So, yeah. And then I see that we got Cam and then Jonathan Nelson both talking about Donovan Dent. So I think that's a really solid place to start. Like, the high-priced guards on this slate, Zach. Do you like Dent, or is there somebody else that catches your eye?
Yeah, I mean, I like Dent, but there isn't a whole lot for high-priced guards that I love. I see Mikael Brown's apparently questionable now. Or well, it says probable. That's what's so frustrating. Like, DraftKings needs to figure out, like, learn how to put probable. Like, they just slap questionable if they're on the
if you have the technology to put a logo with a Q there, you should have the technology to put a logo with a P there, in my opinion.
Yeah. I always like Sturts, but at his price, I mean,
it's too expensive.
It's more of a cash floor if you have the money for cash. It's not really a GPP winning type. Mark Mitchell, even though he's more of a forward, I
don't know why he gets the dual eligibility, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Then, of course, we already mentioned Tyson. He's going to play all 40 minutes as long as he doesn't foul. And he's shooting a ton again, over 30 shots in the last 2 games, over almost 23-point attempts. So you got to like Tyson. You got to like Hubbard, too. A couple down games, but he just had 70 the game before that.
Right.
Because he's just going to shoot. He's going to shoot all day long. And he's getting more peripherals this year than he has in the previous years.
And I know doing something here that I know you love to do. If we look at the splits for Hubbard, 4.5 DraftKings points better at home on less minutes played. That's the more impressive, doing it on less minutes. But yeah, Hubbard, he's a guy that I think he's a GPP type of chucker that you want, right? Yeah. Like, great game environment.
His last three home games in SEC play have been 40 plus, 40, 51, and 71. So.
Yeah, there's just a ton of upside there to me. The one guy I will highlight, though, that I like this guy, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people. I like Otega Owe. Like, he's just continually seeing usage for this Kentucky team. And Vanderbilt, the way they're constructed, bigger guards can give Vanderbilt issues. And Otega Owe, last time I checked, bigger guard. And the last time that he played Vanderbilt, Kentucky got ran out of the gym, 80-55. Owe still got 19 shots up, still put up 36.8 DraftKings points. I think that he is very much worth a look at 8,200 just because of the fact that I think he's the exact type of player that could give Vanderbilt issue.
Yeah, and he's the type of guy that I love being mainly a cash game guy because his floor is there regardless for cash. Still has the upside at the price for GPPs as well. Um, let's see. Mingo,
Did they
no,
just
no
wow.
thanks. Even though
Huge turn
Mingo's
of
been
events in the Dayton game if anyone is watching it. Dayton was down 1 and had to foul GW, who missed both free throws. And then Dayton gets the rebound and gets fouled. So this is a huge turn of events there. Anyway, yeah, I think that OA, all formats, type of guy you can fire up. Is there anybody else kind of above, let's say, 7,500 that you like, Zach, or anybody in the chat likes above 7,500? Because, like I said, I just don't see there being a whole lot of options tomorrow. I like Dent. I like Mitchell and Tyson. I don't know if I'm going to be playing them at guard. And then Hubbard and OA, and that's kind of it for me, if I'm being honest, among the high-priced guys. There's one in the mid-range that I love, and I will get to him.
I like Damari, but again, the game environment, it just like, can his upside get there? But right below him, I do like Duke Miles. I'm hoping people are still off of him because he's came back from missing several games, coming off the bench both times, but he's been over 28 points both times. And last one, he only played 21 minutes because he had foul trouble all night. Mm-hmm. But he still got there. So I think he's one of those that's going to be high chalk if he starts. If he doesn't start, he may lose a little bit of ownership. But it's one of those that it's chalk for a reason. Because
so the impressive part with Miles is like he's been over a fantasy point per minute in each of the 2 games he's been back. That is not easy for a guard to do. Right? Like of course your Cam Boozers or your Terrace Reeds or your Zuby Ejiofor's can do that, right? Because they just have so many ways of racking up fantasy points. But for Duke Miles to do that as a guard, that's pretty impressive. And so I definitely think he warrants mention as well.
Yeah, but yeah, there's not a whole lot 75 and above. So the next guy for me, and I don't know if you like him too, but is T.O. Barrett.
I don't mind it. He's not the one that I really want to talk about. I see Darren likes him as well. I do like T.O. Barrett, but why do you like him?
Well, I like him because, he's been 10 of the last 12 games, 20 plus. That's just very consistent. And he's also had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those 30 plus. All know that Mississippi State has just forgot about playing defense at all. They don't care. Mm-hmm. Their last few games, let me pull it up real quick. Against Alabama, they didn't even have Phylon. They had Amari Allen go for 23. Aiden Holloway went for 16, 10, and 7. And then Latrell Wrightsell went for 18, 5, and 6.
They've been giving it up to guards.
They gave up 100 points to Alabama. Granted, both of those teams pace up, but also it's a pace up for Missouri.
Mississippi, yeah, I was going to say both Mississippi State and Missouri, they both don't play slow. I don't know if I describe them as like top tier tempo teams, but they don't play slow.
Yeah, I think Barrett's going to be that cash chalk like that. I think you just have to play him. The price is not caught up to his newfound role ever since he took over the job from Anthony Robinson, and it's a good matchup. And it's not just all shooting. He struggled a little bit against. Yeah, he struggled against Arkansas and Texas, but those are totally different animals here than we're talking about Mississippi State. And I believe he might have had fouls against Arkansas. I'm checking to make sure.
Well, I remember the Texas game. Here. That was the Texas game was just a weird one. Like it was just a weird basketball game. There were a ton of fouls called, ton of whistles, and basically Missouri really didn't get anything inside unless it was Mark Mitchell blowing by somebody and getting to the rim. And
Yeah, he
Texas
had 4
really
fouls
fucked
against
out.
Arkansas.
Yeah. So I like T.O. Barrett. I think that's a good call. He's not my favorite guy in this little mid-range, though. I might be a crazy person also. Do you know who I'm about to say?
What's the range here?
7,500 to 6,000. Like I said, I might be a crazy person.
Asuma, maybe?
Nope. I will give you a hint. He formerly hooped at Harvard.
Drawing a blank on my guys
really
here.
good at Harvard. It is.
Yeah, just
Malik Mack.
okay. I am in on Malik
Mack. So, like, you look at Mack, and he just has the upside to be like one of these like 20 shots a game guys, like a Josh Hubbard, right? And KJ Lewis is out. And that's going to take away, it's just going to create like this usage vacuum for Georgetown, right? Where somebody has to take more shots. Somebody has to have the ball in their hands more. And I think it's very naturally going to be Mack. If you remember last year when Georgetown played in the college basketball crown, which, by the way, can't wait for that again this year. I love the crown. Long live the crown. When they played in the crown, they had another guard that was hurt, right? I can't remember who it even was at this point. But Mack was like the one guard that was like, he just went off, right? Like he had massive shot volume. Like I just see that being the case again here. And he's doing it against Xavier, who is not a very good defense. 9th in the Big East in defense. They're also 1st in the Big East in tempo. So major pace up, bad defense. I just think that this is a really, really high upside spot for Malik Mack. Like I said, I might be a crazy person. He might go out there and shoot 20 and just end up just totally just being terrible. But I'm in on Malik Mack.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Me being more of the cash guy, Kayvon Mulready and Isaiah Abraham are going to be the chalk from Georgetown.
Like a PB.
Because they're just so cheap. Abraham was the big beneficiary whenever Lewis went down, 28 minutes, 25 DraftKings points. And then Mulready already starts. He's just going to be asked to be more of the facilitator. He's probably going to be running the point because Mack is more the shooting guard. And so it's just one of those at 3,900, like he's going to be high ownership. And so hopefully for you, Mack's not going to have the ownership because of those other guys that are cheap.
I hope not. And honestly, like the way that this works out for Georgetown, because it's such a usage vacuum and because of their cost and because it's Xavier they're going up against, I think you can play both Mack and Mulready, right? Like combined, that's $11K. So you're telling me combined, the two of them can't put up 50 DraftKings points and you feel real good about getting 5X value?
Yeah, I could see it. The only thing I would say is Marquette's pretty bad too. And Lewis, again, only played the 14 minutes.
Good defenders, though.
And he only put up 19.
Like, Marquette's guards will lock you up. So, I don't know. Like I said, I could be a crazy person. I would totally be okay if anybody said a crazy person. And also, I feel like this is the 7th year I have asked myself this question. But Langston Love time?
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
He is.
He see any increase of minutes. Like he just hasn't been involved.
He's like the toxic ex that you shouldn't go back to, but like you just wake up one day and you have a text to your phone that says "Hey" with a little smile emoji, and you can't help but text back. Like that's my metaphor for Langston Love. Now it's been a while since I've been out of the game. I've been married for 5 years, but that is what I think of as Langston Love. Is like I remember him at Baylor, and he worked out for me sometimes at Baylor, not all the time. And so maybe at 3,500, I don't know. I would like to see the starting lineup first, right? I would like to see the starting lineup. But if Langston Love starts, I think that's a good play.
I think it's either going to be Abraham or Jeremiah Williams, and Jeremiah Williams is about useless.
Williams is like the definition of a cardio king. Him and Gabe Cups go start the cardio king all stars.
Yeah, don't like if you guys see the starting lineup and you see Jeremiah Williams, don't use him. Like it's still going to be either Mulready or Abraham or even Halifanuni, however you say it.
Highfalutin.
Yeah.
That's what I call him, highfalutin.
They got so many other cheap guys. Like just don't chase the starting lineup with Jeremiah Williams. Like he's only in the last 15.
I've got one more mid-range guard to talk about, and then I don't have a whole lot of values, especially since we just highlighted him already. The other mid-range guard I like is full-on game stacking this one in some builds, rebuild, but in some builds. And Malik Messina-Moore for Xavier. He's going to play 35-plus minutes. He is a really high assist rate type of player. Last time that he played Georgetown, played 7 minutes, which we like, put up 12 shots, which we like, got basically no peripherals and still put up 21 DraftKings points. That's not going to kill you. It's not what you want, but it's not going to kill you. So I think Malik Messina-Moore, high floor, high ceiling, great game stack option.
Yeah, and I got one more as well.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, probably.
A Duke Blue Devil.
Yep, Isaiah Evans, and he's got the dual position eligibility. And so a lot of people are going to look at this, and they're going to look at the box score, and they're going to see 19, 16, 26, 20. You know, they're going to be like, okay, why? I mean, the fact is you have to consider, look at the minutes. All the starters are not playing their full minutes because of blowouts. When he plays 30-plus minutes, he averages 27 DraftKings points, which is 4.5x this price. And the last 6 guards, because FSU had 2 of them on their team that have faced Virginia, have gone off. Thornton went off. McCray and LeJay Jones went off. I can't remember who else. I was listing all, but all of them were 18-plus real points. That wasn't even included the peripherals. And he's the guy. He's the guy for Duke that shoots. As you can see, he shoots 5 to 10 threes a game. And that's the type of GPP. Like, I think the floor is good enough still for cash because he's getting 20-plus almost every time. But his upside, you've seen it. If you go down further, he had 40 against Duke, against Louisville and against Florida State when he was making some threes. So
I think that with Evans, too, he's just the only Duke guard that wants to shoot the ball.
Yeah, Foster's just a distributor.
Yeah, and Little Boozer, he really just wants to pass the ball and get assists, right? Like, so if there is going to be a guard from Duke that's going to hurt you, it probably is going to be Evans. Now, we say all this and watch tomorrow be like the Caleb Foster breakout game, but I agree with you. I think everything lines up for Evans quite well at 6,100. And then I see Darren in the chat. I'll play Dallin Hall, put up 22 DK points in 43 minutes. That's about a half DraftKings point per minute. That is that's a masterclass in cardio.
And I just had this thought to mention real quick, because this will go for tomorrow and probably next week as well, because it's the last week of the regular season. One thing to note, guys, on senior night, on a lot of these teams will just roll out a honorary start for dudes. And Chase, like if you see a dude that hasn't played a minute all season and he's in the starting lineup, do not touch it. Like it is one of those that he's going to get checked out at the first time out or the first whistle or whatever. It's just an honorary thing that they do. So you got to watch out for that too. Don't be chasing starting lineups this late in the season for possible senior night things.
Yes. Could not agree more with that, because that's going to be something that's going to happen. And I can already see it coming when, people are going to post the lineups and people are going to be, can we play this guy? Can we play this guy? Should we be worried about this guy? Like, nope. Yeah. Like just know it's senior night and you're going to get some of those. Now tonight, I will say that the Luke Skowjak news, that was one where the lineup came out and you're like, wait a minute, this is a road game. Why is he not starting? Yeah, that would be a time to get the guy out of your lineup. But if you see some random walk-ons in the starting lineup and your guy's not there, It's senior night, so don't panic.
Yeah, and most of these, the good thing about these teams is most of these teams are going to give us the news. Like if a guy is really out or really hurt.
All right, so let's talk value guards now. Like I said, I don't got a lot. I really don't. I think I know who my favorite is, though. I like Dylan Hunter. And
yeah, I like him.
He was good to us last Saturday, the FSU game, right? Like 37 minutes, finally got out of his little slump and 27 DraftKings points. Louisville is a big-time pace-up team. I don't think Louisville's guards are the best defenders in the world. And you're getting a guy in Dylan Hunter that has great peripheral rates. And he's going to play 30-plus minutes, and he's $4,700 when, earlier in the season, he was like a 6K type of player. I think this is a pretty good spot for Dylan Hunter.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to probably be my cash lineup. It's a pace-up for Clemson. He does well when there's pace-up games. At home, the Virginia Tech game is the only game he's been below 17 DraftKings points. Just a solid floor, but still has the upside too.
Well, and then another thing too, like when you start doing the math, right? Like if you go on KenPom, he's got, and this is really good for a guard, by the way, 16% combined rebounding rate, about a 20% assist rate. You just do the math on a game that's going to have a lot of possessions. That bodes really well. Right, like he's just going to have so many opportunities to put up stats, and I like him for that reason.
Yeah, I like him too. If you go to Mississippi State, I got a couple guys to talk about on the value side.
Oh boy,
for them.
This should be fun.
All
right.
So the first one is Sean Jones Jr. And if you don't know, he's a very he's very low usage. But he does enough of everything: steals, blocks, assists, rebounds, where for cash games, he gets you that floor. Like even in the bad games, he's still going to get around 10. But the last 5 games, he's actually averaged 22 DraftKings points a game, which is over 5X at this price. He just doesn't shoot. And that's a mistake that sometimes people make is they're like, I can't play this guy because he doesn't shoot. There's a lot more ways to get points than just scoring real points. Steals and blocks are worth 2. Assists are worth 1.5. I mean, there's more ways to score.
To kind of piggyback on that too, his rates were not all that much different. His shot rate is quite low, but his peripheral rates are pretty good. Like they're right up there with Hunter. Like 17% combined rebounding rate, 10%, that's not great, but really good block and steal rate for a guard. And then he might not shoot a lot, but when he does, he shoots threes. So like,
yeah, when he put up 12 points, which you're like 12 is not a lot. He put up 34 fantasy points because of everything else he does. So it's one of those where he could literally have a good game, like 20 plus, which is you're looking at 5X here if he gets around 22. And the nice thing is he gets to throw to Epps and Hubbard, who are the guys that are going to shoot the ball. Right. So we already talked about Hubbard, but also with Epps. Epps is
you're going to get Darren riled up.
Point guard, and he's gonna shoot. He's gonna shoot a lot. And I like Jones more just because he comes with the savings, but I think Epps probably has higher upside because of his shot volume. He had 31 DraftKings points, shot 20 times against Missouri the first time. So
because of how much he shoots, he warrants consideration in GPPs. Like, you can't deny that fact. He will burn you. Like, believe me, Jaden Epps will burn you. But because of how much he shoots the ball, got to get consideration in GPPs.
And that's the thing. I like that you said that he will burn you. That a lot of the guys, because we're talking about the tight pricing, it's going to feel like they don't hit 4X as often as normal because it's like DraftKings intentionally did it that way. And so you got to look at – I think you got to look more at the upside than you look at the floor. Or when you're looking at the floor, like with Jones, is 10 points in cash at 4,300 really going to kill me with how much little value there is? And same thing with Hunter. Like, is 15 points at 4,700 going to kill me in cash? Not really. So that's those are the two guys we talk about. We already mentioned when we were talking about Georgetown, Mulready. You already mentioned Hunter. But other than that, honestly, I mean, maybe
Slim
Anthony
pickings.
Robinson. Yeah, Anthony Robinson's minutes went back up last game, but he doesn't really have the role that he did earlier in the season.
I think if you want to fade T.O. Barrett, Anthony Robinson's not a bad look because they pretty much have the same role. Yeah, like I don't think it's a perfect play on paper for Robinson, but like there's pathways to him getting there, especially against Mississippi State.
Okay, two other guys that I want to mention, I guess, are Daly and Sky Clark. And Daly is like the perfect definition of GPP play because you look at his 5, 35, 8, and 5. Like, but the price is nice considering how
you
more
get 7x.
And then Sky Clark mainly just because of coming back. This is his 5th game back. That 4th or 5th game back when guys have been out for a while as that sweet spot that I like to target. And his minutes are slowly going up. The only issue is he still hasn't earned his role over Trent Perry back.
Yes, that's the thing for me is like if you want to try to be early on him, I think this is a pretty good time to do it. And I get it if you want to do it, especially on a slate like this, but I don't think it's for me. I just think the Perry has kind of usurped him. Yeah,
and then I guess while we're looking at right there, Solo Ball, you could mention him. I mean, he's going to play 30-plus minutes. It's just with Mullins there now, it's like Damari and Reed and then Mullins and then Ball. It's like Mullins has kind of taken over the shooting aspect.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad play. I don't think he's going to make my pool though.
Forgot about our boy Jakari White. He can have some big games. He can be mostly a shooter, and it is against Duke, so I get the hesitation there. But like we've been talking about, there's not a lot of value.
So like you think of like the type of guard that would do well like against Duke. It's somebody who is not going to get intimidated by their length, who's not going to back down, who's going to go out and be aggressive when they're on the floor. I think White fits that bill. Whether or not he's going to have success is another story, but I think that he fits the profile of a guy that could actually get off a little bit against Duke.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get my charger. All right, so you ready to move on to forwards?
Yeah, I think I'm good. There's just not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah. So we've already hit the dual eligibility guys, which is great. At the top of the board, do you think there's enough value on the slate to play Cam Boozer? Because I want to do it.
Let me mess around here real quick. Yeah, I think you can.
I think with Boozer, his massive upside games come in two types of games, right? The close and fourth game where he's needed to play 35 plus minutes, and then also in the massive blowouts. This is not going to be a massive blowout, but this could be a close game where he's needed to play 35 plus minutes. I think that he is going to have an advantage in whatever matchup Virginia decides to put on him. And I think that 10-9, it's a little expensive, but on a slate where there's not a whole lot of safety, there's not a whole lot of guarantee, he feels like a guaranteed 40.
Yeah, if you're talking about cash plays, anytime you can fit Boozer and Debanza and all those type of guys, they're just such a good floor. Like their floor games are like 35 or 40.
Right.
And that's if they like had 2 fouls right away or sat for 10 minutes because of an injury or something. Like you said, nobody else really. I mean, who could you argue on this slate? I don't think there's really much. Maybe Michael Brown that you could argue that could match his ceiling. Like
I'm
I
gonna
just
be
don't
honest. I
see
just don't
very
think
many.
there is.
Yeah, it's not like we have Duke, and then we have Vasar on North Carolina, and then we have Zuby, and then we have Reed, and we have all these other options. We don't, like we talked about.
Mm-mm. And yeah, like the other studs that we see on a weekly basis aren't really here. No Debansa, no Toppin, RIP to that one. No Zuby, like just I think he's very much worth a click tomorrow, and I'm going to be trying my best to make it work, honestly.
Especially when you're talking about, like we already mentioned, the highest priced guard is Sturts. Like you don't
Yeah.
have guards, like you don't have A Cuff, you don't have those other guys either.
LeBaron Philon even, like there's just
Yeah,
not.
like
All
and so
right,
yeah,
so
you could get Boozer because in my original build I had Carroll and Billaday from UCLA,
mhm.
and all I had to do was go to Booker over Billaday, and then I could fit Boozer easy.
Yeah.
Right? And I still have the other guys I like. I didn't change anything else, just those two guys.
And the crazy thing is too is I don't think there's a whole lot of safety, but I do think that Reed and Carroll both do have their own individual upside. Like
Yeah.
Reed, fantasy point per minute monster. And then Carroll is in one of the best game environments, one of the best matchups on the slate, where the previous time they played, he put up 39 in 28 minutes. So I don't think that they're terrible plays, but I don't think they're anywhere near as safe as Boozer is, or as high of a ceiling as Boozer is.
Yeah, I like Carroll, but you look at his game, like he's hit 50 one time. Like,
Yeah.
and at 9,000, when you can try to find 1,800 somewhere else to get Boozer, like
If you played him last Saturday, you were good with 44. Like you'd absolutely be thrilled with that score. But like Boozer could bury you even if you just get 44 out of Carroll. Boozer could bury you with a 60-footer.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Boozer ends up kind of chalky, just because of projections or because value or whatever, or like there could be random news that we get. You never know.
You never know what news this Saturday morning will bring.
I did see. Oh, now he's not anymore. I was going to say earlier this afternoon, DeRitter was on the injury report.
I noticed that as well, and I was very curious as to what they would do because they hate playing Onyenso and Greenlow together. So I thought that might have made things even better for Boozer. But yeah, now he's good to go. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of good on high price forward after that. Like for me tomorrow, it's going to be a lot of Boozer, little sprinkling of Reed and Carroll, and you already know I like Mitchell and Tyson.
Yeah, Baravakainen and Milicevic, but they're more GPPs. Like Milicevic has to hit a shot, or he doesn't hit. I do like Iwachuku. It just sucks that 7,200 you got to pay for a guy coming off the bench. Like it doesn't feel right in your head, especially whenever you have to do it with Duke Miles possibly.
He's not that far from being an Ernest Uday all-star in terms of guys who don't really shoot the ball. It's really only the last two games that he's really got a decent amount of shots. So I'm not doing it.
We already talked about. I do like Moreno. He's been playing really well. The only thing that sucks is he just doesn't get the minutes. Like,
yeah, Kentucky, like their forward rotation is frustrating because if you could ever tell me that Moreno or Diabate, if you could ever tell me that them were going to get 30 minutes, or even if you could tell me that Yelovich was going to get 25 minutes, I'd play him every time. But they're so committed to this, like 26 for Moreno, 25 for Diabate, and then about 15 for Yelovich. Like they're just so committed, and then 15 for Garrison. Like they're just so committed to that. It's just really annoying to me.
Yeah, and now he's got the huge price jump too. And then let's see. I mean, going down, Caleb Williams, he always gets looks because of the minutes, but I've never been a big fan of him.
He always seems to be like, so you know how sometimes like a slate starts and then you go look at the ownership and you're like, whoa, he was that high owned. I do that all the time with Caleb Williams, where like I open up a slate and it's like Caleb Williams 20% in this economy. Like he's a guy that I don't play a whole lot, honestly. But now that you got KJ Lewis out, you got pace up against Xavier. If there was ever a spot for him, this would be the spot.
Yeah, that is the thing. Is like DraftKings did a good job on this slate. I will say that with the game and the games that have the good game environment, they price those guys.
Yes, they did
a little higher than they normally would have. Because if Moreno was still sitting at 5,900 like he was last game, he'd probably be chalk. But he's probably not.
All right, you ready to close us out with a few value forwards, and then we'll talk about the core and get on?
Yeah, I think we could kind of talk about Iowa. We talked about Fulgerius and Tavian Banks. They're both in a smash spot against Penn State. The only issue is it's basically a coin flip. Which one of them they basically split 50-50 on the minutes. So which one is going to get the minutes?
So I kid you not, on the show I did for the Wednesday slate, I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, for the Wednesday slate, I was talking about the Ohio State-Iowa game, and literally my exact phrasing for Fulgaris, I don't know how to say it. I think it's Fulgaris. We just call him Fulgers. For Fulgaris, my exact phrasing was, this is a great matchup, but I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, and I don't know what his ceiling would be if he doesn't play north of 25 minutes. That was literally like my phrasing. And sure enough, he played exactly 25 minutes, and he puts up a massive ceiling of 35 DraftKings points. So to answer my own rhetorical question, his ceiling in 25 minutes is 35 DraftKings points. But now the thing is that he's getting so priced up, like I just don't really like him at that price tag when he's not going to get you the minutes where he can hit a huge ceiling, and the low minute total is going to make it really bad for a possibility for him to hit 4x, 5x.
Yeah, it's hard, and so it's like, I don't know about that.
And then our Iowa basketball correspondent Cam, I like what you're saying there. Fulgaris gets more minutes when he's hitting shots and playing D, because there are times where he's just a turnstile down low for them. I do like Banks. I think Banks is like a more higher upside guy than Fulgaris, because we've seen him like have games where he goes and gets 10 rebounds, or games where he really gives a good scoring punch. And he's only $5,800. So I don't mind the idea of getting to Banks on this slate against a really bad Penn State team.
Yeah, Banks is one of those guys that if I'm at 5,800 for my last guy in cash, I wouldn't feel bad plugging him in there, especially with the matchup. But it's one of those that he's not one of the first 2 or 3 guys that I'm looking to put in my lineup, if that makes sense. I will say on the other side, one guy that I like that was playing well till he got hurt is Ivan Juric. One of the lone bright spots on Penn State this year. And he came out, when he came back from his injury, he put up 30 in that first game, and then he kind of him-hawed around, and then he had 30 again against Nebraska in the double-double last game, even in the 23-point loss. So he's another guy that if you need around that price, I don't hate it.
I like Juric. I do. I think he's an interesting play at 5,600. I think Iowa's a pretty good matchup for bigs, honestly. Like Amari Bynum had a really solid game against them Wednesday night. I think Juric could do it again. I'm buying in on that one as well. And then also, I will mention on the Iowa side, Cooper Cook, I don't know how you say it. He plays all of the minutes, and he shoots a lot of three-pointers. If he ever has a game where they just go in, that could be your value of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
So The only other value forward that I really wanted to go out of the way to mention, we've mentioned him already. Well, okay, so let me rephrase then. We've mentioned Abraham already, and I really do like Abraham. I think that he's going to be on the floor more often because of the KJ Lewis injury. It's going to give him opportunities to get rebounds, assists, points. Like this is a really good spot for him at 4,100. The other guy that I want to mention as a value at the forward spot is, and this one's a little outside the box. You ready? Grayson Grove.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go.
Grayson Grove. That's Minnesota is basically out of scholarship players. They might be suiting up the managers at this point. He is going to play 35 plus minutes as long as he doesn't foul, and they're playing more zone defensively to prevent their guys from fouling, which is smart. And so you're getting a guy at 5,200 that's going to play 35 plus minutes. UCLA's centers, as much as I like Bilodeau, he is not a defensive stalwart down in the middle. And so I really like Grayson Grove at 5,200.
The other one I want to mention is I always like him. It's, again, we already talked about the mess with the rotation, but Nick Davidson, they never move his price. He's always the same price. And he can, if Welling and Godfrey and all them are getting fouls or whatever, he could really smash.
Mm-hmm.
He just hasn't done it very much lately.
Well, and the other interesting thing is, too, is, and I know me and you have talked about this, Welling is a guy that because of his rates, he's going to project well on every slate, which means that sites like RunPure and RotoWire and anywhere else that does projections is going to put him up there real high, which means his ownership is going to be real high. And so if Welling is chalk and Welling doesn't hit, there's a decent chance that Davidson's going to hit. And the one night where he hit it big against Stanford, I was all over him. He helped me win a lot of money that night. And I'm not saying it happens every slate, but if you're looking for easy leverage over Welling chalk, boom, Nick Davidson right there. Now, granted, it would not have worked out well last week. Both of them were garbage last week. I did need to point that out.
Yeah, that's what sucks about last week is, we did the show the night before, and usually, we're like, get in the chat, but both you and I were busy, and then we had all this news, what was it? Estrella was back, and then Vasar was playing, and
messed up the carry chalk, messed up Zayden High,
Well, thankfully, 2 minutes before I was supposed to start announcing the baseball game, I just flipped High to Dixon, and then I also got off Freeman as soon as I saw Vasar was back. I was like, no, I'm getting off him, and I ended up going Sanford, and it helped huge. So one of those that I was lucky. Fortunately, I didn't get to tell everybody because I was busy. I didn't have time to update anything. But tomorrow morning, I have to do a wedding in the afternoon, but in the morning, I'm good. So I'll be able to and hopefully update the sheet. Normally, that's the goal, is to update the sheet if I change the core and then let everybody know in the chat. It just, depending on when it, on the weekend, it depends on how available.
Right. And I agree with Jeff here. I'm kind of tired of Clemson. If you were to ask me, hey, what teams would you be okay not seeing on a DraftKings slate the rest of the season? Memphis would be number one. Okay, I'm so tired of Memphis, but Clemson might be number two. I hate Memphis.
Yeah, I'm so sick of them.
I hope they don't make the American tournament.
Doug McDaniel finally had a game, of course, whenever I was all over Givens the other night, and then Givens disappeared.
They get Quantberry 30 minutes out of nowhere.
And then we have to play them again on Sunday. I'm so sick of them.
I'm so
tired.
And
it's only a 4-game slate, too.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I hope they lose on Sunday so that they don't qualify for the American tournament and we can just get them out of our lives until they're in the college basketball crown, because I love me some college basketball crown. That was a money maker for us last year. We were just printing money in the college basketball crown. All right. Any other forwards you want to talk about? Because I think I have one, but it's like super greasy, super iffy.
So I got a forward and a guard. If you think UConn's going to blow out, Jaden Ross and Malachi Smith.
Okay.
I
like Malachi.
Just random, because like when Ross gets the minutes, he can do well, especially if it's not like the starting role, if it's more just blowout. I think that's pretty much it for me, though.
So the other one that I'm mentioning, like I said, it's really greasy, really ugly. I kind of like Chore for Mississippi State. He's like Mississippi State with their front court has been so inconsistent with their minutes, so inconsistent with everything. And it feels like he's finally coming around and like Chris Jans is finally like starting to play him a little bit. And he is such a good rebounder. Like his time at Samford, he's just an insane rebounder, like 39% combined rebounding rate. That if he just plays 25 minutes in this game, he could smash. But you just don't know if it's going to happen because that forward rotation for Mississippi State has been so bad. But, I'm a GBP player, so I'm going to roll the dice on a Chore. And I see I got Huncho with me. That's good to know. But yeah, I'm gonna roll the dice on a Chore.
Yeah, I don't hate it. There's not a whole lot that I can say that I just hate when you're talking about GPPs, just because, as we know, anything could happen. But yeah, well, other than probably one thing, Jeremiah Williams, we already talked about that.
Yeah, I think that's at about 1:00, he's going to be in the starting lineup and people are going to be swapping him into their lineups, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah. You have so many, you have all those three forwards that are cheap, or two forwards for them. And then you have Mulready as well.
So we got Cam in the chat. I don't mind. I believe it's pronounced Masura. I believe as last man in. I don't mind that either. Like he's kind of in a similar boat as a Chore, where like we don't know who is going to get the minutes for the front court for this team. What we do know is that Masura, when he's out there, is a very prolific fantasy point scorer, like very good fantasy point per minute player. You've seen it in each of the last two games. 35 minutes played, 30 DraftKings points scored in each of the last two, or in total in the last two games. So I don't mind the idea of that at 4,100. I think it's playable. I think we're all out after that, though, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not a whole lot, and that's why, like, originally I was like, well, there's not enough value to get Boozer, but then I looked, and we talked about Mulready, Sean Jones, Dylan Hunter. There is enough value, I think, to get them and still not hate your lineup. And so I don't hate it. I think it's going to be popular just because it's Boozer, and everybody wants to play him all the time. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because like we talked about, he's the guy that can break the slate higher percentage than anybody else on the slate.
Let's close it out here and talk about the core four, your core four, and then we'll wrap it up for the night.
Okay, so yeah, we've talked about this before, but it's mainly for cash. Looking for the floor, but also somebody that can give us upside. We already talked about Barrett. I also like Mark Mitchell if you got the money for him, but I don't think I want to for cash because, like we talked about, Boozer. But Mississippi State's bad defense, it's pace up, and we already mentioned 10 of the last 12 over 20 plus. That's just a super safe floor, because the ones where he didn't was when he had fouls, and then, like you said, the weird game with Texas. And then you have Kayvon Mulready. Again, you could also go Abraham. Those two guys are going to have the biggest outside of Malik Mack, who you already talked about, the biggest minute and usage role increase is Mulready and Abraham. And so you could say either or, and I could even see people plugging in both, honestly, to try to get Boozer in there. And then, but Mulready is the one that I kind of like a little bit more. And then Sean Jones, we already talked about him over the last 5 games, averaging 5x this price. He's probably going to get ownership because of that. I also like Dylan Hunter. He was really close to that too. I think you can play both of them in cash. And then this orange guy, he's the guy that I think has good floor, but also has huge upside given the matchup and is sometimes lower owned. And in this case, I think he's going to be lower owned just because I think people are going to try to go lower or higher, or people don't want to play too. Well, I just want to play Boozer and I don't want to play anybody else. And so I do like Evans. And like I mentioned, just, stay tuned in the chat in Discord if there's any changes, if there's news. Like if we get news in the morning that Boozer or somebody woke up puking and stuff, like
you never know.
Yeah. With all the flus going around, all that other junk. And so just you have to – college basketball, college football, we talked about it all the time. You can't really build and just forget about it. You always have to just 5 minutes before each tip, like 12, 12:30, 1, just get in the chat, get in somewhere that you can get lineups, make sure that there's no funny business because you never know. It's not like NBA and NFL and all these others where they have to report like significant ahead of time and they have to have, they get fined if they don't. There's no punishment for and we've even seen these.
Do you remember in college football when USC played a guy who was listed as out on the injury report?
Yeah. Like they don't get punished for these injury reports. And then there's been several times like the other a couple weeks ago when I was all over Peterson on Monday night and he wasn't on the game. Yes, and then all of a sudden he's not playing. Like, what in the world? And that totally screwed me because it's a 2-game started, so you're just like, what do I do here?
That's one thing with Peterson. I hope and pray that for the rest of the season, Melvin Council is priced lower than he is. So that way, if he ever pulls any of those shenanigans, you can just global swap to Melvin Council.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was an option that night.
No, I ended up having to do like I had him and Christian Anderson. And then Toppin went off, but the way my lineup was already going, I couldn't get to Toppin. Like there was and it was just bad. I do have a core for afternoon and night if you wanted to look at it real quick, or if
we can take a quick look if I can figure out how to pull it up. I have not looked at these slates yet, so I am not prepared for this.
No, I'm just going to mention real quick.
Yeah. Hold on. I got to get my Google Drive back open.
I just sent you the link too.
Okay.
If that's easier.
That might be easier because I don't think it's in my Google Drive. Anyway, do you remember who it was?
Yeah, so for the afternoon, It was Kanan Catchings because he's 5,600 and Georgia is against South Carolina, and we've seen it, for the last like 5 or 6 games, South Carolina's just been getting shredded by forwards.
They're really bad.
Yeah, and he also shoots threes. He's had a couple down games, but he's real cheap here. Another one is Rylan Griffin is real cheap in the highest total game at only 5,500. I don't think people are going to look at him. Like last game, everybody was all over Marcus Hill, and he dudded. It seems like every single Texas A&M slate, people pick a different guard when they forget that Griffin's been the most consistent all year. And then Jamarcus Lawrence, I was shocked whenever I saw he was only 5,100.
That's a pretty good price tag for him.
Honestly. For a stat stuffing guy and real cheap. And then I always like Karchenkov. We talked about this before. Nobody ever plays him. And now with Pete's reported to be back, so people are really not going to play him. And he's just so consistent, 20 to 30 every time. And so I like him. Krevis, though, he's only 6,300. But I like on the afternoon and night, since it's more GPP anyways because of the contest, I like doing these cheap cores so that people can get whoever they want. And on this one, it's kind of a weird slate. But you're going to want probably Christian Anderson, even against Lipsy, because he's just been dominating without Toppin.
Ooh, I don't know. I think
so
going up against Lipsy, that might be the perfect jumping off spot. Might be.
Yeah. I haven't decided yet. And then on the night slate, there's a little bit it's like we talked about. Like if we had all of these high totals on the main slate, it'd be like, oh yeah, this is nice. But they're all the good
that's a
games
lot of green in that chart.
Yeah. Back to Dixon. He has not shot well at all, but he's still providing the floor. One of these games, he's going to shoot well, and he's going to explode. Dayton Forsyth has been real cheap. OU likes him. LSU's bad, and he's coming off a foul game, so I think people aren't going to like him. Jermichael Stillwell, I always like him when he's under 7,000, and going against Baylor, easy matchup. You do have to worry a little. Yeah, you do have to worry a little about the letdown from BYU, but I still think he gets it. And then Estrella, that's the one we got to watch out for. If we can find any kind of news at 5,500, that's way too cheap for the matchup against Bama. But he only played 6 minutes when he was back last week, so I couldn't find anything yet. I'll be looking tomorrow, though. But if he is out or, not going to be back to full minutes, I really love a mint. He's only 8,700 because we know Bigs against Bama is a thing, too.
Bigs against Bama is a thing. That's one of the concerns that we've had. Bigs against Bama.
And we will have to watch that because Phylon is questionable again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
That's just a quick look at the afternoon night, just real quick, especially if any of those games are on FanDuel for people to look at.
As we were talking, the 8 p.m. window is wrapped up. Yeah, we got Michigan beating Illinois. Really just kind of overwhelming them the whole game, it felt like. And then I believe the MAC game is done, is it? Yes, Akron walloping Kent State. They just have Kent State's number. I think Akron might beat Miami, Ohio in the MAC final.
Yeah, the core was pretty good. Merez
Johnson did really well tonight.
37, Simon 21, Williams 19, and Tavari Johnson 37.
And to think I had to talk you into Simon.
Well, I didn't realize he was starting because I just don't pay attention too much to Dayton. And
hey, if you ever need information on Texas, Dayton, or Charlotte basketball, I'm your man. Those are the three teams that I watch every game of. So,
yeah. And even Simon, I think, was kind of lower owned. Yeah, he was only 31, which kind of shocked me. Him and Williams.
How people miss Justice Williams, I don't know. I thought that
I think they just freaked out about the out, and then it was 3,400 and starting. They were like, okay, but then they would have seen that Williams was starting if they saw that Perry was starting. So
right.
I just didn't get that one. I didn't have anything too crazy because I had a feeling Gillespie was not going to get there, but I still played him because I was like, oh, well, I need exposure to him. Because if I didn't, I probably would have had a much better – because my original thought was play Axel together, and I should have stuck with it. Of course, I didn't because that would have been good.
Oh, look. I see our guy Huncho took down the $1, though. Congrats, Huncho.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he had 244.
Yeah, because he did what I said, Yaxel and Merez together. Yeah, that's what
Yaxel and Merez together. Aaron Guerin, Williams, Medley, Johnson, the very much chalky, very much correctly chalky guards. And then
but it could have been even better.
Pretty good.
because he could have played Simon over Whaley.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been even higher score. Arangian,
That could have
man, I
ended up being
forgot
the
about
optimal if he
him.
did that.
He's been dominant. Like, why was he only 8%? I should have had him too.
Whaley or
no, Arangian, because
yeah,
remember
he
was core for us when Castro was out, and he put up 43.
The last time they were on the slate, he was a big piece for us. All right, but yeah. Anyway, hope everybody had a good Friday night, and I'm hoping that after watching this, you guys will have a great Saturday main slate. Now, we're doing more of these because I don't know if y'all noticed, but the calendar's about to flip to March, which means that it is the best time of year. Later this week, we're going to have midday conference tournament action, and then this time next Friday, it'll be the last day of the regular season coming up on Saturday and Sunday. So we're going to have more of these live shows. Hopefully you guys are enjoying them. Hopefully you guys are getting some help and some entertainment along the way as well. But we're going to have more. And so you will know when we go live. I don't know if we're going to have like a regular schedule because, we both got other stuff going on. But, if you're subscribed, you'll know when we go live. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure to help us out. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. It really does help out a ton when you guys do that. But yeah, we're going to have more of these lives. So make sure you're subscribed. You'll know when we go live because we're going to be having some as we get into March Madness here. All right. Any final words to wrap us up before we head on into the night, Zach?
No, just thank you everybody for watching. Subscribe to his channel, subscribe to join the Discord for either Fantasy Corner or Big Country, and follow us on Twitter. And just good luck to everybody, and hope we talk about a good night tomorrow.
Yes, for sure. All right, but that is going to do it here for us, guys. And yes, Darren, I did see that. It was quite a stolen game, and it might be pretty big when it comes to the American tournament in terms of how the seeding up. So I'm hoping that my Niners can get a double bye. They're going to need a little bit of help, though. But anyway, yeah, that is going to do it here for us tonight. Best of luck to you guys tomorrow on the Saturday slate. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next.
Thank you.